So when I ask my students every year, what's the slope formula? This is the most popular answer, which is slope-intercept form, but not the slope formula. So slope formula is m equals, you can think of it different ways. Some people call it rise over run. I don't particularly love that one, but that's the idea of it. The change in y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I do like this description, change in y over change in x. So that's a delta Greek symbol for change. So change in y divided by change in x. It's like a triangle there. That's the slope formula. So let's try it on a few problems and see how it works. So it's a good idea to go and stop it and plug in the slope formula, which is this, into the problem. You choose which one is your first point and your second point. So I'm just going to do this. So that'll be -2 minus 4. That's y2 minus y1. This would be x2 and x1. So 7 minus -5, which is like boom, boom, plus a positive there. So I get -6 divided by 12, which is -1/2. So the slope of this equation is -1/2. And you want to make sure you can get this right every time. So we're going to have a few more problems here. So try this one, stop it, try it on your own, see if you get the right answer. I'll go ahead and work it out. 5 minus 7 over -2 minus -3, which is like +3. You get -2 over 1, which is -2. And this one, again, stop it, try it. So, ooh, this one's going to be interesting. So, y1 minus y2, 4 minus 4 over -3 minus 2. So I get 0 over -5. Sometimes my students have trouble with that. 0 over anything but 0 is 0. So that's actually a slope of 0. That would be a horizontal line, if that makes sense. If you look at a graph of that, it's going to be horizontal. And let's try this one. Again, not a bad idea to stop it. This one's going to be a little different too. -2 minus 5 over -3 minus -3, which is like +3. So it's -7 divided by 0. Look, you can't really divide by 0, so that's what we call undefined. This line, which doesn't have a slope, would be a vertical line. Right, and we'll talk more about that later. But the slope is undefined. Let's try these. So can you find a slope given a graph? So stop it, see if you can find the slope of the red line here. So I prefer, if I'm doing this, to just find it, right? Find a couple of slope points. Those are where it seems to go through nice integral points there, where the it's not going through like half or decimal there. So it looks like if you go up 2, so rise of 2, run of 3, so I think the slope would be 2/3. The other way of finding the slope, and that is the slope, would be to actually use ordered pairs, right? So like this is the point 0, 2. This is the point 1, 2. So that's like 3, 4. You could take these 2 points, plug in the slope formula just like we've done in the last couple of minutes. Again, so try to apply the slope formula here on this one. So stop it, find the slope. It looks like it goes through a couple of nice points here. So if you pick any of them, you go up 2, and you go over 1, 2, 3, 4. But the thing about that one, I'm going in the negative direction there. So when I go to the left, x is negative to the left. So I'm going to write 2 over negative 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 over -4. So the slope is -1/2. Big picture about slope, you probably know this. Going up the hill, it's positive. Down the hill, negative as you go left to right, just like you read left to right. So right away, you knew the slope had to be negative there, given that kind of a graph. These are unusual cases, but you definitely need to know them. So when the slope is 0, like if you think about it, so it's like, mx plus b. So for this graph, it would be y equals 0x plus, it looks like 3. But no self-respecting mathematician would say it like that. We would just say y equals 3, right? Because the slope is 0. 0 times anything is 0. So you've got that. So you might ask why, because this is confusing for students. I don't know if you ever thought about this, but the y-axis is vertical, but y equals 3 is a horizontal line. That line goes forever to the right and left horizontally. So it's because all the y values on that line are actually 3. So if you look at this point, this is the point 1, 3. This point would be 2, 3. This point would be 3, 3. This point is 4, 3, and so forth. Notice that all the y values are 3. Everywhere on that line, the y value is 3. The x can be anything, right? It even could be 1.5 because there's an infinite number of x values. And so we just write it like y equals 3. Of course, every point on that line, what the y value is 3. Now this one you really cannot fit into slope-intercept form because we mentioned earlier there is no slope for a vertical line. It's undefined, so you can't even use this form at all. I would just write it for what it is. X equals -2 would be the equation of this line. If you think about it everywhere, that's -2, 4. That's -2, 3. -2, 2, and so forth. All the x values are -2 everywhere on that line. So that's what it's saying. The x value can be -2. The y value could be anything there. Slope-intercept form, I know you know this is the slope. A lot of people think this is the slope formula, but it's not. And this is the y-intercept, right? So write the equation. If the slope is -3 and the y-intercept is 5, this is almost too easy of a question, right? The equation would be y equals -3, plug it in for m, the coefficient of x, so -3x plus 5 plus the y-intercept. So that's your equation of that line. What is the slope-intercept form of this one? So if you have an equation that's not solved for y, it's not in slope-intercept form, right? So let's try to just solve this. You can just take a couple steps here. Subtract 3x from both sides. You get 2y equals. I want to write it like this. I want to write that x term first, and the reason for that, I guess it'd be -12. I put plus -12. The reason for that is I like the mx plus b kind of format there. Also, when I divide by 2, I'm going to be very careful to divide by every term by 2. So divide this by 2 and divide this by 2. It actually helps you cancel a lot easier. So this would be -3/2 x minus 6. And you can see it looks in the right form there. Minus 6 is in slope-intercept form. Got it. So just solve that equation for y would be the way to go there. Let's try another one. So this one, let's put it in slope-intercept form. You might want to get rid of the fraction here. So you can certainly try that. It's looking a little better. And here we get (16/2). And so we have slope-intercept form for that one as well. Find the equation of line. So now we're going a step further. So first, you've got to find the slope. So let's do that. We've learned how to do that. So that's -2 minus 4 over 7 minus -5, which is like plus 5. So we get -6 over 12, which is -1/2. So the slope is -1/2. To find the y-intercept, you can just use this. Like this is one way of doing it. Y equals mx plus b. Right, so we're going to plug in, pick one of the points. I'm going to choose this point. So x and y will be 7. And we get -2 equals -7/2. plus b. I'm going to add 7/2 to both sides. I get b equals, this would be like -4/2 plus 7/2, which is total of +3/2, which is b. So we're almost done. We basically have to now write the equation. Y equals -1/2 x plus 3/2. We find our m, -1/2, and then we find our b, which is 3/2. Just plug it in. So there's a lot of steps. You've got to find the slope, plug in to the, substitute into the slope-intercept form, and then once you find the y-intercept, plug that into slope-intercept form. Let's just look at one more. Looks like 3 people are going to compute the slope. I just want you to see this. It's kind of interesting. So, so if we look at, let's see, Ava here. So we're going to find the slope between these lines. So to do that, I'm going to draw a slope triangle here. So 0, 0 is this point. 3, 2 is this point. So to go up from there, I go up 2 over 3. So it looks like the slope is 2/3. And let's see, Carl picks these 2 points. So 3, 2 and 6, 4 and up 2 over 3. So rise over run would be 2/3, same slope. Okay, well, it's not so, I mean, maybe there's nothing to see here. I just want you to see one more thing though. Maria finds these 2 points, 3, 2 and 9, 6. So she picks out different points. She finds a slope that looks like it's up 4 over 6, 4 over 6, which is 2/3. So we get the same slope anyway. I just want you to see that because there are a lot of different ways. It doesn't matter which 2 points on a straight line you pick. You might have to do some simplifying, right? Factor out a 2 there. But you should get the same slope any 2 points you pick. So whatever 2 points you see, but notice you have to kind of identify what those nice integral points are and pick one of those and you should be just fine on finding the slope. I hope this was a nice review for you of slope. I know you've had it before, but you need to really be solid on slope. We use it quite a bit, and so you want to be almost mistake-free, just really solid on finding the slope given 2 points.